Hi everyone, it's Salty Tarot. Welcome back to Salty Tarot. We are going to do a collective love reading and we're just going to start and see what comes through. We've got the Animal Spirit deck. So Spirit, please tune me into the energy of the collective. What is the energy of the collective at this time? We're just going to get one card. We've got the Vulture. Okay. And then could we please get a card for the energy of the person in the heart of our collective accessing the reading at whatever time they're accessing the reading. So a card for the person of the collective. The person that you're thinking of, the person in your heart. We have the Lion. So with the Vulture, we have the Guardian and Purifier, essential for rebalance. When in balance, clarifies, reveals wisdom. When out of balance, dramatic and aggressive. To bring into balance, clean your space and sage. Ooh, on that note, we're going to light some sage right now. I'm not done. I'm going to read out the description. But that's a perfect little reminder to do a little smudge of the space. The Vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. So perhaps you're feeling a bit misunderstood. Maybe throughout your life, maybe just in this moment. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The Vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the Vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. So perhaps you're in a state of feeling undervalued by the people around you or by your person. It might be in your life in general. It might be specifically by your lion person. Perhaps you have a role of cleaning up the ecosystem either within this connection or in general. Maybe you work in an environmental field. And you might be ruminating on something that feels like a mistake or a tragedy at this time, but which might actually serve your highest good. You might learn as time goes on that it actually was in your highest good. For your person's energy, we have Lion, patient, regal, a complete master. The Lion is a master of the fire element and the living mascot of self-transformation. A Lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. This dedication inspires some and intimidates others, and therefore the Lion is respected by all, but known intimately by few. Some mistake the Lion as hard to access or aloof, yet those with a keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealth, and precise in their words and actions. They do not waste energy or resources. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available to all, no matter where our quest begins. When in balance, the epitome of peace and strength. When out of balance, withdrawn and too serious. To bring into balance, daily meditation, friendship. So your person might be in an energy of, kind of being on top of their game. On the other hand, there might be an element of control. So self-mastery, but self-mastery can sometimes be an energy of holding back from opening up, from being vulnerable. Too much self-mastery over one's emotions could mean a lack of connection. And lions, quite frankly, make a mess and vultures clean it up. So, maybe there's something to the sort of self-mastery being a bit of a facade. Maybe it's at the expense of you in this connection, or of others, that in order for things to look perfect, there's usually somebody else behind the scenes making it so, to give that perfect impression. But on the other hand, maybe your person's energy of self-transformation, being on top of their spiritual growth, being very much in the energies of being keen and precise. You may be experiencing them as hard to access or aloof. Okay, so maybe we'll just set those to the side. So Spirit, please guide me to more information about the situation. What are the challenges, or what is the energy between these two people within this connection? What are the current energies of this connection? The last reading I did was a pick a card reading, and it was, whoops, so intense. And I didn't really realize until the third reading, but I think it was intense because I was in the energies for the whole weekend. Just noticed I've got some bruises on my arm here. Oh my goodness. It must be my cats. I don't recall bumping into anything over the last few days. I've had a broken toe, so I have been relying on crutches a fair bit, but that would be sort of this area. But fortunately, I only needed them for the first few days. And since then, I've been hobbling around well enough. So anyway, I'm icing my foot at this moment. I've been saying I've never broken anything before, but I think more accurately, I've never had a diagnosed break before. And it's just been really interesting how quickly the pain transitioned from absolutely excruciating and unbearable to just sort of minor pain, which, maybe that's a lucky break. I'm sorry for my voice. I didn't realize I was this hoarse. I guess I hadn't spoken yet this morning before signing on and starting this reading. Okay, so we've got reassembling runes. From shattered pieces, gather strength to rebuild what was once broken. So I'll just keep sipping tea. I'm not sick or anything. I'm not sure. Maybe there's some throat chakra stuff coming through, communication difficulties. So reassembling runes. From shattered pieces, gather strength to rebuild what was once broken. So it might be that you and your person are in separation and looking to rebuild the connection between you. I usually put your cards here and your person's cards here, and I'm just noticing that the vulture and the lion are facing away from each other. So you might be in, a bit of a sort of a proud stage. The vulture looks a little teed off, and the lion just looks stubborn. Proud but stubborn. So you might not be getting anywhere right now, but it might be a time of gathering strength. Let's see if we can get a couple more here. Any more cards reflecting where the connection is at this time? We have deeper waters. Step out of your comfort zone and explore new depths. Ooh, my voice is coming back just with that. And just take liberated path. Embrace freedom as you break through, taking steps towards your true potential. Whether you're looking at rebuilding the connection, or rebuilding after a breakup of a connection, it looks as if stepping out of your comfort zone and exploring new depths is what will bring you to this liberated path. Embrace freedom as you break through, taking steps towards your true potential. So stepping out of your comfort zone is exactly what's needed in order to embrace freedom. So in order to access true soul freedom, you have to get the hell out of your comfort zone and away from things that are familiar, habitual, the ruts and routines that we sort of lock ourselves into to get through our day-to-day or get done whatever we have to get done in the course of a day. It's so critically important to step out of those routines. It's good to have routines and to build up good daily habits, but it's also very critical sometimes to break right out of them. Change your environment, change the scenery. So maybe the first step here would be to identify what is within your comfort zone, where are you sort of holding yourself back, and what might be a depth that is a little bit challenging. You don't want to be like jumping way out of your comfort zone, but just, nudging it just a little bit past what's comfortable for you. And, if you're somebody who's accustomed to going out of your comfort zone, maybe you do want to just dive into a new experience. I remember when my sister went through her divorce many, many years ago, she sort of immediately threw herself into discovering everything there was in her local area to do with adventure. There's all kinds of adventure supporting companies springing up all over the place. And I think she'd already been skydiving, so that wasn't on the list, but She, went and tried all kinds of like relay competitions. So she went log rolling. Yeah. I guess that's what people do for adventure in British Columbia. No, she did like she went to like escape rooms and just tried all kinds of things. And that led her to a path of, quite frankly, embracing her true potential and like a beautiful new life that has served her quite well. We've got Soul's Compass, let intuition guide your steps, illuminating the life path meant for you. So we're getting advice here. I was sort of looking for a diagnostic on the connection, but getting lots of advice coming through, which is beautiful. And again, if maybe this for you is about rebuilding the connection, maybe these are steps, maybe there's work to be done in separation, which is often the case in intense connections. It might be that there's work to be done separately before you come back together, or it may be that this is how you embrace freedom following the dissolution of a connection. I'll leave that to you. It's for you to take what resonates. And then we've got Love Potion. Open your heart to truly feel the magic of love. So whether that be a reconnection or a new person coming in. Or the love of community, the love of small children, the love of friends. And we have In a Fog. Fear, obligation, or guilt makes you stay. Get clarity. Okay, so maybe some of you are still in a connection with somebody and you're feeling a bit foggy about it or staying out of obligation. So maybe a first step would be to seek some clarity, and that might occur by stepping out of your comfort zone and following your intuition. Okay, we're gonna switch to a different deck. Spirit, please tune me into the energy of the collective. We get a little bit more for your energy, a little bit more information about your current energy. And this deck does not have reversals. Nor will I construe the cards in reverse if they come out in reverse. All upright. Whoa. We've got resolving issues, solving inner conflict with others, healing past trauma. We've got Lovers, a passionate connection, shared vision and values. Maybe we'll put these like this. So it looks like you're motivated to solve, it says inner conflict with others. So perhaps you're experiencing some inner conflict that is impacting on the relationship, or perhaps your person is. There might be some work to do with healing trauma from past relationships, from childhood perhaps, or from past occurrences between you and this person. Looks like you're in the energy of feeling like there is a passionate connection between you, that you have shared vision and values. I mean, the vulture and the lion are very aligned. Okay, and let's see what kind of energies your person is in. What energies is your person in at this time? We've got awakening, a realization, shift, or discovery, and confession, releasing a secret, pursuing virtue through honesty. Okay, so I'm getting the sense that your person may have been in these energies of not wanting to make themselves vulnerable, maybe avoidant energies in this connection, and that maybe you've done some overcompensating for that, just thinking about the relationship between the lion and the vulture. I was just watching a comedy show, stand-up comedy, where a woman was talking about the comedian was talking about her husband, and she started out by saying that her husband stated to her that he has no issues. And that for her is a red flag that of course he does have issues. And a lot of the show is about some of his issues. And so maybe your person was in an energy of, like, there's nothing that I need to change, everything's fine. And maybe there's some kind of shift that's taking place for them right now. And that's leading them to realize that they have something they need to say to you, something that you're not aware of in the situation that they need to bring through and confess. So let's get some tarot. So I thought we'd use the Affirmators deck. And so, Spirit, please tune me into what is going on for the collective in this connection, current energies, and where it's going next. And forgot that I wanted to be looking at bottom of the deck. So bottom of the deck for this deck, we've got overcoming obstacles, get back on your feet, gain strength from difficult situations. So that might be a message for you. It might be a message for the connection. Maybe there's something that needs to sort of get going again within the connection. And maybe there's some gifts or strength to be taken from whatever difficulties you've been working through with your person. So with the tarot, see, what is your person? Let's start with you. So what are you? What is the collective thinking or feeling about this situation right now? Let's call that reverse. So we've got Knight of Wands in reverse. And what is your person thinking about the connection or feeling about the connection at this time? I mean, they're cute, these little characters, aren't they? Nope. Seven of Cups. Can we get a clarifier for the Knight of Wands in reverse, please, Spirit? Clarifier for the Knight of Wands. That came out as sideways as it possibly could, and there's two. Okay. Well, we've got a sideways Four of Pentacles and a sideways Four of Swords. That's some four energies. Clarifier for the Seven of Cups, please, Spirit. For the energies of your person. Three came out with that one. I guess we'll take it. We've got Three of Swords, Page of Cups, and the Hangman in reverse. In the bottom of the deck, we've got the Ten of Pentacles. Interesting. So the Ten of Pentacles, of course, is legacy, building a long-term connection with someone. So that might be in the background as you and your person are working through difficulties. You might, one or both of you might have in mind that is sort of like, the background energy of the connection. There might be a sort of movement towards building a long-term, lasting connection with, perhaps you're working on building wealth together or building a family together. So with your energies, the Knight of Wands in reverse. So you might be in an energy of impatience. It's possible that you might be running from commitment. You might be feeling some instability within the connection. It's possible that you may enjoy the sort of like forging a quick connection with somebody and sort of winning them over, and then you may not be invested in building a long-term relationship like the Ten of Pentacles energy would suggest. I just lifted that up to show it to you, and underneath we've got the Ten of Wands, which I was literally just saying you might not feel sort of invested in these energies, And then the Ten of Wands suggests a burden, something that's being built towards, but it's feeling like a burden. So I'm getting the sense from the energy check-in earlier, the oracle cards earlier, and then from this Knight of Wands in reverse, that you might be in this kind of wavering energy of one foot in, one foot out. It might be that you're not sure that you want to fully invest in this connection at this time, or you might be feeling like the connection itself is a bit unstable. You might have some fickleness coming up for you. And so modifying that, we've got the Four of Swords and the Four of Pentacles, which are almost opposite energies. So the Four of Swords is about taking a pause or a rest to kind of think things through. Well, the Four of Pentacles is about sort of hanging on. It's like attachment energies. Sort of, it could be, being responsible with your resources and your energy, but it can also be sort of being overly attached to your resources. The Four of Swords, while a meditative pause can be very beneficial, it can also be sort of, failing to take action or pausing too long or pausing to the detriment of the connection, perhaps. So it might be that there's mutual energies here of not being sure how to move forward while still feeling attached in ways that maybe are potentially not serving. This is sort of opposite energies to the Knight of Wands in reverse, but it might be that you're feeling, they can go together in the sense that sometimes when we have feelings for someone, we run away from those feelings. So that could potentially be your energy at this time. It might be that that's causing, maybe this plus this. So the Knight of Wands in reverse combined with the Four of Pentacles, like this sort of fickleness or instability energy, like liking the beginning of things, but not the building of something up into a long-term connection, while finding yourself attached to a person or to a connection, to a situation. It might be that is bringing up for you this need for a pause, or this feeling that maybe even some avoidance. Maybe you're in a bit of an avoidant energy, or you're feeling like you're not sure how to balance these two things within yourself. Your person may be confused. They might be... I find it helpful with the Seven of Cups to get a clarifier, because the Seven of Cups could go in a variety of directions. I love that there's a narwhal here. Spiking a whole bunch of coffee cups. Traditionally the Seven of Cups is sort of like there are many options. So in a romantic connection, that could mean your person, handsome lion that they may be, of whatever gender, they may have other romantic options. That is a possibility. But it could also just mean that they are confused within the connection. Like there's many different directions that things could go, and they're not sure which direction things are going to go in. We've got a little house over here, but we've also got and some diamonds, but we've also got outer space and stars. And we've got the moon over here. We've got, I don't know, that looks like some piousness. I'm trying to sort of pull through traditional meanings of the Seven of Cups. Basically, there are different ways that something could go. And with your person in the energies of maybe having something they want to communicate to you or a secret to reveal, we've got the Hangman in reverse. So the Hangman this could also refer to the pause, same as the Four of Swords, and sort of reflection. But this might be that they've already done their reflecting and they're coming out of the reflection. It could also be that they're hanging out in reflection too long, similar to the Four of Swords in reverse. But we've got the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups can refer to an apology. Oh yeah, okay, so Three of Swords, there's some heartbreak here that has occurred, I would say. And then it looks like your person has done some reflecting about that heartbreak, and now they're coming out of that reflection with things to say to you. They may make an apology. They may have some nascent feelings. I don't know if you're at the beginning of a connection. There could be some nascent feelings that they're coming to terms with and wanting to communicate to you. Or if you've had a conflict, if there's been some heartbreak here, they may have been reflecting on their role in that, and they may feel that they have something that they need to bring forward to you for resolution. And yeah, this narwhal almost, I don't know if those are like breathing holes or some part of a narwhal's body that I'm not familiar with, but it almost looks like tears, as if they're feeling a bit burdened by all the options. So maybe your person's still feeling some confusion, but they have this desire to come out of their period of reflection and have some sort of preliminary communication with you. And, you know, if this is building towards the Ten of Pentacles energy, then it's possible that they're, you know, maybe they've done their reflection and they're planning to come out of that state, but they're confused because what they're getting from you is this sort of Four of Swords sideways energy, that you're kind of still in a pause, or possibly in a pause for too long, while being sort of 1 foot in and 1 foot out, or sorry, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. This would be like all in, and this would be like 1 foot out. Okay, so our question is, where is this connection heading? Where is this connection heading? I wouldn't mind making a 5D and a 3D distinction. So what is, given present factors, what is the likely outcome of this connection in the 5D? What are the energies of this connection heading towards in the 5D from this point forward? So we're looking for the 5D energies of this connection. We've got the Queen of Cups. That's lovely. So the Queen of Cups, of course, is about being emotionally intelligent, having compassion, having emotions that are well balanced, and just a lot of love. So a lot of like loving energy. And so perhaps you and your person have a strong connection in the 5D. You might already have that. You might sense that. It might be feeding through into the 3D. And so you might be feeling that there's a strong sort of loving connection kind of beyond interactions on this plane. And so perhaps, I mean, that can result in confusion if there's sort of nothing happening at the 3D level or conflict at the 3D level. You know, if your soul feels like this is the essence of your connection with a person, I just sort of tip this over a little too far, and look what's on the bottom. We've got the Ace of Cups, which is love, the beginnings of love, the beginning of something new, beginning of a new connection. Anyway, so let's get a card for the 3D connection. So supposing present factors continue, what's the anticipated likely 3D outcome for this connection at this time? We've got the King of Pentacles in reverse. So someone in this connection might be too focused on the material. Pentacles is the suit of the earth, of materialism, in the sense of being connected to matter, the mother, the earth. And that's matter, M-A-T-E-R, but it's connected to M-A-T-T-E-R. And the king is sort of the embodiment of those energies, but in reverse, it suggests a disconnection from the energies of the suit of Pentacles. So not being grounded, not being fully invested, potentially being too materialistic, sort of looking at the material, I want to say the material circumstances of the connection at the expense of realizing that there's something else that's trying to pull through from the 5D. So it could be that you, your person, are sort of continuing on in energies of being, I mean, so if where this is going is the Ten of Pentacles, this suggests that there's some kind of blockage in the way. Something is holding the connection back from realizing that potential. there might be controlling energies, there might be some jealousy, stubbornness. We already addressed that one. Vultures are pretty stubborn too, I must say. If you've ever watched a vulture having at it with their snack, they're not easily dissuaded, and they certainly don't let other smaller birds come around for a bite. We have turkey vultures where I live, and I have not seen them dining, but sometimes they're on the road, and they're one of the most interesting creatures I've seen in my life. They're definitely dinosaurs. Anyway, can we please get a clarifier for the King of Pentacles? Please, Spirit. Clarifier for the King of Pentacles. I just had so the cards were getting a bit out of order, and part of me thinks if I let them get out of order, they're more likely to flip, but that's of course not really true. They'll flip whether they're in or out of order, and I just have this very strong aversion to letting them stay that way. So there might be that might be the controlling energies coming through, like not wanting things to be in disarray. This can also be concern about public appearances, so wanting to keep up public appearances at the expense of, for example, deeper feelings or a connection. So if that resonates, take that. Clarifier, we've got the 9 of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck, we've got 9 of Swords in reverse. 9 of Swords is anxiety. So 9 of Swords in reverse could refer to coming out of anxiety, or, there might, perhaps, I want to say your person, I keep going back to your person, but maybe it's you, take what resonates. So maybe your person has been in sort of energies of, or you, has been in energies of like having some anxiety about the connection and feeling like that's maybe the shift that your person is undergoing is they're coming out of that anxiety. They're having more clarity. They're having more of a sense of what their own feelings are and wanting to express that to you, going back to that Page of Cups. So 9 of Pentacles is the energies of being, it's sort of the energies of being good with being single, being sort of at the pinnacle of, doing all the things that one can do most fruitfully when one is not in a relationship. So, being on top of your game career-wise, having sort of prosperity coming to you, having your ish together. And so possibly there's a focus at the current time on trying to build yourselves up individually. And so maybe that emphasis on building yourselves up individually, maybe there's too much focus on career, too much focus on amassing material wealth. Maybe there's sort of that independence energy is what's blocking the connection from being able to build into something longer term. So vultures are they're social, lions are social, but I'd say this vulture and this lion are both looking pretty independent in their energies. So, maybe there's a call to soften, and maybe have some compassion for self. And, like if you're in this 9 of Pentacles energy, that's amazing and that's beautiful. And, that's an accomplishment. But what can you soften to within those energies? Like what is, if there's an attachment, for example, to appearing as someone who has everything together, what's being sacrificed to maintain that appearance? Like where's that sort of crack where the light can get in? And so I just kind of peeked underneath the 9 of Swords in reverse. So if this is coming out of anxiety, under it is the Knight of Wands upright, which is, of course, the energy of, being excited, enthusiastic, coming towards someone. We've got Knight of Swords in reverse, so that would temper that somewhat. And then that 4 of Pentacles again, and the King of Wands. So those are ambiguous cards that sort of suggest like stops and starts and, you know, attachment. Okay, my friends, so your reading, it's funny because I checked it so many times and then I just stopped checking, and then of course it stopped recording. And so here we are. So I because I recorded another reading afterwards, I managed to recreate the cards for that reading, but I cannot for the life of me recall what the cards are going back. You'd think I would remember because I have already recreated it once, but I can't recall what the cards were for your reading at the end. So I think I'm going to just take that as a message from Spirit to just get whatever comes out. So whatever the final messages are for your reading. So I've already shuffled a couple times. We'll give it another little bit of a shuffle. And this time the button is not selected. I've already deselected the delete button. It's very handy, but maybe it should be like used as a second pass. Manually deleting is a pain in the butt, of course. But anyway, all of this would not be an issue if I had a separate camera, so that has become slightly more urgent on the desired equipment list. I mean, who knows, I guess maybe it still could be an issue, but okay, so any last words for the vulture and the lion? Well, that came out straight away. Cute Spirit. That's very interesting. So the sun, of course, is, you could almost see like a parallel to the energies of the two cards. Obviously, the sun and the lion are very aligned. And the sun is one of the best cards that can come out in the tarot deck. I feel like the moon tends to be sort of underplayed. I'm starting to actually remember the cards. One of them was the moon, and the other one was... And I'm at this point, I'm not even sure if that was from earlier in the reading and if I said all that moon stuff. Maybe I'll just pause the video and I'm going to have a look and see if I said my moon messages. And if I can remember that this came out modifying another card. And I'll see if I can recall what that card was if it's not in the earlier part of the reading. Just 1 second. Okay, so it's funny. It's funny how that card coming out prompted like a flood of memories of all the cards that came out. So I do remember that the... Okay, so this is absolutely not going to be in the order that it was in when, like, the first time. But the... Where is it now? So the Ten of Pentacles was out there somewhere. And I can't recall now if that was... I heard myself refer to it in the little bit of the reading I listened back to. So Ten of Pentacles energy is somehow in the background of all this. Another energy that was in the bottom of the deck was the King of Swords. And so the King of Swords, I think, came out with... I'll get to that. So I think the King of Swords was for the part that we're about to do. I'm not sure where the Ten of Pentacles was, so we'll just keep that in mind as sort of background energies. Ten of Pentacles is like long-term relationship, legacy, building a long-term connection. And then the King of Swords, so I'm just going to jump in here, and it's so funny, like the spirit redirect that's happened here. So how it was I'd asked, what can you do? I think this is what it was. Thank you for bearing with me. So I think the Ten of Pentacles came out as like the highest possible outcome. So, you know, what is the potential outcome given present factors continue? I believe that was the Ten of Pentacles. If I said something else earlier in the reading, then that's not where this was, but somehow the Ten of Pentacles came out. And then, so I'd ask the question of what is your work in bringing that highest possible resolution to fruition? And the cards came out as Lovers reversed, modified by the moon. And for your person, it was Seven of Cups. And there were two cards modifying that. I'm going to try and put that together. But anyway, the bottom of the deck energies at that point was the King of Swords. So we're going to put our Sun card over here because now I feel like that's in this energy as well. I'm going to see if I can remember which... So I think At some point there was a 5 of Wands reversed and a Knight of Wands reversed that came out, and a 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands came out upright and then came out reversed. There was definitely an 8 of Pentacles, there was a 4 of Pentacles, and the King of Wands and the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands came out upright later. So it came out reversed initially and then it came out upright later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak to these energies. I might get something to modify this because I can't quite recall what was modifying it. And then I'm going to speak to the cards that are here, or maybe I'll just go with just taking the 7 of Cups without modification. But I do recall that there was a lot of beauty in how this came through. I'm sort of feeling this needs to go over here. Which creates some symmetry here. That's really interesting. So maybe that is meant to be the modifier for this right now. I just got a very strong call to put that over there because it was distracting basically from these energies. And so while I know that the cards that came out to modify this were not nearly as positive, maybe that's the redirect that's happening now. Anyway, so let's get back into it. So your task here, and now I have this memorized because I've looked it up twice already. So the Lovers reversed. The Lovers, of course, is like very harmonious energy and a connection, but it can also be about making a choice. So the Lovers in reverse refers to being attentive to where there might be areas of disharmony between you. And so if, for example, like any areas where you're not on the same page, where communication needs to be improved, and there's a message to reflect on past discord. And so when the moon came out as modifying, what I was seeing was that part of the message for you is to trust your intuition, so bring things through from your intuition. And it kind of came into doing some inner child work. Did this come out upside down? I don't remember this coming out at all, but maybe it came out upside down. Because I remember talking a lot about inner child work, and so interesting how this is coming. Anyway, so I trust that there's messages that are meant to come out, assuming this reading records and uploads and makes it actually to your ears. So I believe that what wanted to come through here was that there might be ways in which you're not aligning with your person, where there's some subconscious work for you to do, or like work bringing things through from the subconscious. So heeding your intuition, seeing, like paying attention to dreams, keeping a dream journal, bringing things sort of up from the subconscious for conscious awareness and potentially clearing. But, things clear on their own. You don't need to make that happen. You just need to become aware of them. And, and if you feel like doing work to clear something, you can set that intention, definitely. But in my opinion, you bring it up to awareness and you hold that awareness and you feel the feelings. You go somatically into your body and feel what it's bringing up for you. And that's how the clearing just kind of naturally happens. It might be that you want to look into how to clear whatever it is that's coming up for you. So anyway, there might be a message to go into past relationships, to do some, inner child work, or go back into, that's what I was saying before. So I was talking about how the moon in astrology represents our earliest patterning. And so that patterning begins, from the moment that you develop senses in the womb. So, your ears develop and you start hearing the sounds of your, mother and whoever else is around. And you develop a sense of, feeling, like you have a feeling of safety. And, that feeling of safety is modulated according to what is going on around you, or a sense of normalcy, of what is standard experience. And, that begins right from when you're in the womb. And we're physical creatures, and, we're taking in information as soon as our brains develop, as soon as our hearts develop, and our senses. And then when you're born, there's all kinds of things happening all around you that you will never have conscious access to, which I want to say pattern you, but it's coming out as program you. So there might be something to just kind of figuring out what your subconscious programming is and working with that And, you will not have, unmediated access to what events shaped you into becoming the person that you are in those earliest days of your life. But, you can ask questions if you have a parent to ask them of. But, that would be filtered through the lens of what your parent wants you to know, of course, right? And, if your parents were screaming bloody murder at each other every day, then, are your parents necessarily going to be honest about, having, like, maybe parents might have a sense of guilt about, having surrounded their newborn with acrimony or strife. They might not even remember necessarily. Although I think when a child is born, that tends to be fairly, I know for myself anyway, those days are the early days of my children's lives are emblazoned in my mind in a way that most days of my life are not. But anyway, the subsequent months certainly are not. They're all just a big blur. With like the nutrients being sucked out of my body as I nourish my littles. And, not a lot left for patterning and memories. Anyway, point being that you have access to the feelings of those experiences. You may not consciously be able to recall what the experiences were, but how they made you feel, that's in you. And that information only you have access to. And it's in your subconscious. It, organized how you perceive new information coming in, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Like, this is how we came to learn language, how we came to have any emotional intelligence at all, or any other kind of intelligence, like how we learn, how we receive, how we communicate our needs. Like, that is all patterned, in the earliest days of our lives. And so I think the call here is to work with your intuition and to sort of get into, like, if there's trigger points in the connection between the two of you. It's funny, I recall making a note about how this reading was so much lighter than the reading over the weekend, but it was this combination that made me feel like we were going down into the depths. So if there are trigger points between you, then those trigger points might be a call for you to go deep, deep down into why those things are triggering for you. And, that work is useful at any point. It's, it might be hard work to prioritize emotionally or in terms of time. We all have busy lives, but it kind of seems like there's, if you're here and watching this, and if you've watched to now, there's, that's something that it looks like it would be fruitful for you to go into and work with. And always heeding your own intuition about where these, asynchronies are happening, and, maybe what you can do to bring them into balance. So, you might be meditating and get sort of an intuitive hit of something that you feel like might be your work in the connection. And so then with the King of Swords underneath, my sense was that both of you were being called to be in integrity when doing that work. And I did remark on his lovely little lightning bolt because I think it's very funny. It's lightning bolts are kind of sacred to me, and I've used them as a symbol for this channel, as well as the censorship little lightning bolt that I put on cards that are, when there's things that might I use them to censor myself. Okay, so I'm trying to not use words that I've looked through the list of words that get flagged, and basically they're all the interesting words in the English language. Okay, and so with the Seven of Cups coming out as your person's work, I don't even remember if that's the card that came out for their work. But since these are the cards that I vividly remember from the rest of the reading, I'm going to take it. And I do remember this came out upright for your person. And so, did it come out upright? Maybe it came out in reverse. Oh yeah, it did. Oh yeah. Okay, it's coming back. Okay, so Seven of Cups upright refers to having lots of options. Having, there's different... The traditional Seven of Cups is like, there's some good options, there's some bad options. Which one are you going to choose? And I sort of feel like even what is looked at as, bad options is coming through a bit of a morality filter. As far as I'm concerned, there are just options. And, we choose the ones that call to us. And then we experience the consequences of those choices, whether they are positive or negative. And so when this card is, so this can also be a card of confusion. And so when the card is in the negative, it sort of comes forward as like a person might be, it can already be sort of being hesitant or being indecisive in the upright, but in the reverse, it's like accentuated. Yeah, so because it's in reverse, it's coming through as hesitation to the point of inaction. So it's, if this is, I wonder if I was asking what's blocking the connection for this part. So in any event, blocking or your work, in both cases, it's sort of, the same message. So for your person, their work is to come out of that hesitancy. So, it doesn't serve if there's some hesitation to the point of not making decisions, not moving forward. And so my sense is that if they're able to kind of work with their, potentially scattered energies and focus in, that there's a very positive outcome that is coming through. With the sun being, of course, sort of being in the energies of flow, of, being in the light. For a lion, obviously that's the ideal state of being. And so, if they're able to come through those blocks, come through their hesitation or their sort of perception of, like, maybe they're thinking about all the different directions this connection could go, or all the different directions their own life could go. Maybe they have, and this would only apply if it's something you already know about, but maybe they've got other options in terms of romantic life that they might be considering. And so it looks to me as though if they're able to sort of find their way through that maze of possibilities and focus on this connection with their, with full integrity, that there would be a very positive, sunny outcome for them. That, of course, is beyond your control, and that's their work. And so, but, what's within your work is sort of working with anything within yourself that might need to come up for resolution. And and that might have to do even with, like, you have a choice whether, like, if this person is sort of waffling and indecision about you, do you want that? Do you want that person? That might be a question for you. And, if your immediate answer is yes, of course I do, then that might be something to delve into with your subconscious. You might want to find out where that desire comes from. If there's any sort of like avoidant, anxious kind of dynamic going on, you might want to take this time to get to the bottom of what that is for you. And that is, of course, always valuable work, whether it's playing into a current connection or a future connection, or just, your own self-confidence in yourself. So, yeah, I'm just going to have a look at these other cards. So again, we had that 10 of Pentacles coming up so that's, the potential for a long-term connection. And so if that is the highest possible outcome for this connection, then, these are the ways that you can each support that outcome. We have 8 of Pentacles, which was, I wonder if that was coming out as the highest possible outcome. I kind of remember looking at that and thinking that it was, I remember talking about how it was sort of, it was modified by some fiery passion. So we had the Knight of Wands initially came out this way somewhere along the way. I think it was on your side, but I can't remember what the question was. But in any event, the Knight of Wands in reverse would be sort of like holding back, essentially. would be my interpretation. And then it righted itself. And so I was seeing it, I believe it was modifying the Eight of Pentacles as sort of like, there's a lot of passion here. There's a lot of attraction, and a call to, this Four of Pentacles came out somewhere along the way. It came out in reverse, and then I think it came out upright afterwards. And so the Four of Pentacles is a call to see how much of a focus there is on material security. I wonder if this is in the video, the part of the video that recorded, so refer back if if I'm repeating myself. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. This one's kind of a bit, it's like a collage. It's a collage together with spirit. We're sort of pastiching pieces together. In any event, so attachment that does not serve can be a blockage in connections, and realizing, what the worth is of the other person is a great thing. Being overly attached, not so great, but there is something to acknowledging and assessing worth. Then with this Eight of Pentacles, I do think that came out as an outcome, because I recall saying that I consider this a great outcome. It's sort of like the fruition of work, so if you're doing this inner work, then it's like the Eight of Pentacles is the culmination of that, and the point where you get to enjoy your labors. But I was noting that the Eight of Pentacles it's not like a bacchanal, it's like sort of a sober, serious enjoyment of work done, as opposed to, the passion coming through with the Knight of Wands, the passion coming through with the King of Wands. The King of Wands would be a little more sober, but the Knight of Wands certainly is like, that would be the party bacchanal energies. And I remember the Ten of Wands came out near the end in reverse. And the Five of Wands was in reverse somewhere along the way as well. And so this would be about putting down burdens. So if there's anything that's felt burdensome, it's sort of like coming out of that feeling of, things being too heavy. And maybe for you, maybe that's doing the work that we were talking about with the Lovers in reverse and the Moon. And then Five of Wands in reverse is sort of like coming out of, like if there's been any sort of ego battles or arguments, that would be coming out of that. So I kind of feel like maybe all of these came out. It wasn't just orange, I remember, but maybe that was in there as well, because a bunch of cards came out, I believe, when I was playing that. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. We've already done, I know from the videos I just rewatched that I'd already pulled some oracle cards for you. Maybe I'll just pull just one last tarot and see if there's any last messages, given how much Spirit seems to want to speak through this reading. Spirit did a bit of an editing job on this one. That is too many. I'll just get one, maybe two cards, please, Spirit. 1 to 3. There we go. We've got the Four of Swords. And so the Four of Swords is about taking a pause. Bottom of the deck is Three of Cups, which is sort of celebration and enjoyment, friends, being in good energies with friends. It can also mean third-party energy, so if that was resonating, only if it's resonating, only take that message if it's something that already feels appropriate to your situation. But otherwise it could refer to like being in celebration, being in groups, having a good time. So maybe there might be a message, maybe there's a need to take a pause from being in groups, and sort of go internal and do a bit of meditating, or maybe there's a need to take a pause from the connection, do your inner work, and make sure you're getting out and having a good time with friends. So we're going to leave it there. Thanks for being here. Sorry I got a bit choppy. Please do like, subscribe, let me know how this is resonating. If the journey of this connection has been anywhere near as chaotic as this reading has been, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. It certainly looks like there's a lot of passion happening here, and a call to do some inner work, which, is like, I think when we go to tarot readings, we often just want to hear like, it's going to work out. And, that potential is always there. And in this case, there's a very clear sort of message to I've been wanting to do this the whole reading. Here we go. Now you're looking at each other at least. Yeah, so yeah, please do like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments how this resonates. And yeah, if you subscribe, then you'll be alerted to the next time I upload a reading, which I'm aiming to have be at least once a week, potentially more often than that, depending on what else is going on. Okay, thank you. Take care. Thanks for being here.